everybody, welcome to OP Digital Blueprint. Again, apologies for the delays. That's my fault. Hands in the air. We're going to have a little chat about project planning today, and my lovely young assistant here, Jeanne, is going to help me out with this. So I'm going to pass the ball straight across to her, and she's going to start us rolling. Over to you, Jeanne.
Thank you so much, Andy. It's great to be here. I'm in my daughter's old room. If people are wondering, I don't have my green background today. And I apologize in advance if you hear any banging. I have some repairs going on at the house. So let's get started. I was super inspired with all of these videos that Red has been making, just on business, just all sorts of great ideas. And he's been researching and sharing what he's learned. And so I thought I would follow suit on a topic that I just think would be a really good use of people's time as we're in this pause. It could be fun. I think it would definitely be stress relieving because it will get things down on paper. And that always relieves my mind, right? It'll be educational, eye-opening, and all those good things. So what it is I thought we could use this time to just draft out plans for all the things that we've been talking about doing for the last several years, whether that is, when they say, oh, when this gets moving, what are you going to do? I'm going to repair my house. I'm going to pay medical bills. I'm going to take a trip. I'm going to, set up a foundation. I'm going to do all these things, drill a well. And we could just, have those as dreams out in our minds, or we could take this time to get them down on paper in a really basic format from which you can then achieve these things, from the small things to the really, really big things. And having done a little bit of research here, I thought, I'm going to draft up a little one-pager sheet, like a PDF or a Word doc. And if anybody's interested, after I talk today, I'm happy to share that. I haven't made it yet, but if there's interest, I'll definitely draft one up just as a starting point, and it can be adapted as anybody needs. So I first went on to, I thought, okay, I could do this off the top of my head, what I think would be good for a project plan, or I could utilize the tools available and use a little bit of this AI. And so I went on to the AI that came with my computer, Copilot, and just asked some basic questions about a business plan, a business project plan. And it came up with a lot of things that are very detailed for business, sales and marketing strategy. It was a little too complex. And frankly, we all joined this business probably because we don't want to have to do any of that. I know, Andy, you can relate to this. We know that a lot of that is going to be handled for us. So I thought, well, we definitely have a humanitarian spirit. Let me adapt my query for humanitarian or for unlimited resources. So like it would just narrow down the structure. And it came up with 8 aspects or 8 steps, if you want to call it that, but I don't know if they have to be in any order. And I'm just going to, if it's okay with you, Andy, I'll just go down these and then give my quick example. So the first is vision and mission statement. And that is basically a compelling picture of your end goal. And then what needs or challenges is it meant to overcome, right? That's just in a nutshell. The second one is purpose and impact goals. And that is basically what is the human benefit of this and what clear indicators would mark that it had been achieved, like number of lives saved or number of, what communities were empowered or impacted. So some kind of quantitative thing there. The third is beneficiaries and stakeholder engagement. And that's basically who's going to directly benefit from this and what kind of partnerships will help to co-create this. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on these. This is just an overview. The next one was the unique value proposition and differentiation. I'm going to skip that one in this case because it really applies to if you're selling a product or if you have investors that you want to pull in. So let's just shelve that one for right now. But that was something that the AI offered. The fifth one is what I consider the most key, because it's that's where things actually get done. And that's really the fun part of this project planning, is where you're going to write down what's actually going to happen. And that includes, where am I? A phased plan with key milestones, and how you're going to channel resources into the different aspects of that. So I'll leave it at that. The sixth one is collaborative framework and partnerships. And that's where, you're going to bring in the experts, and how you're going to set up feedback channels to get information back and to adapt going forward. So basically working with other people. The seventh is sustainability and future promise. And that is, how will the practices be sustained for generations? So like, if you're doing this project, how will it over time be sustained for future generations? And how can it serve as a model for others? Right. And again, some of these things don't apply. It may not apply to your particular project, but for other projects, it might. So it's good to know. And the last one is risk management and adaptive strategy. And that's basically where you're looking at, what are the potential risks? Is it aligned with the needs? And what measures and contingency plans can we set in place going forward? So that's just an overall thing. And it shifts the plan from, say, a business profitability type of a plan to human benefit. And that's what I think a lot of us are about. So I thought this sort of narrowed down plan steps would be helpful. And so to explain it better, I said I have people, literally carpenters, whacking at my porch right now. I thought I would use that as an example. If I were setting this up as a project, it'll show you how helpful it is. So the first one, vision and mission statement. What's my vision? A finished porch, painted, done. Beautiful. That's my vision. My mission is to have a safe, walkable surface around my house, right? The purpose is basically the same as the mission in this case. It's to have a safe place for people to walk. And I guess the long-term goal would be to keep it maintained and repaired, right? The beneficiaries of this project are, first and foremost, my family, the delivery men that are putting packages on my porch, because let me tell you, this porch had some problems. It was starting to rot. We were worried that there were areas where we didn't even realize that the rot was there because the bushes had overgrown, right? So it's basically to make it safe for people. And now this fourth one, the unique value differentiation. Again, I said I was going to skip this, but I could apply it to the next one, which is the implementation and roadmap. So in my case, step number one, we called different construction companies and got estimates. 2, we selected the best options from those. The best company, the best rapport, the best woods they offered, the best timing, how fast could they get it done? These are the real practical steps that I'm excited about. It's because if each of us take a sheet and start writing these things down, we'll start to collect that information that will save us time in the future. You could put your contact people's names and numbers, just all that information that you gathered so you can hit the ground running going forward. The fourth was we had to pay the first deposit to pay for the wood, that first materials payment. And then we had to schedule the first day of work, which was last week. And then today they're here and they're probably going to have to come a couple more days. So you schedule that. And then when they're coming over, you make sure you have waters for them, that you have power, access to power, all these little steps. They sound really mundane. But once you get it all worked out, there are things that you don't want to have to be in the middle of a project and say, I didn't think of that. And then you have to, backpedal and scramble to solve it. So you get it down on paper. It just saves you so much time, and it eases the mind. And then, okay, so the next one, number 6, partnerships. In this case, we've set up a relationship with all of the people we called, actually. But in this case, the people who are doing the work right now, you set up a good rapport with these folks so that you have a better experience down the line. If you have a neighbor that needs a repair, you can offer their information. You're setting up networks and relationships with people that if it's a positive situation, like if the repair is good, then that's somebody we'd be happy to recommend to somebody else. And somebody we can call if we ever need them again in the future. And the last one, risk management and strategy, is sort of the same kind of thing. We'll then, monitor the porch for, any kind of issues we might run into, recontact the carpenters if we need to, call them if an issue arises, blah, blah, blah. So that's a really quick example of how you can use a project plan. And again, that 5th section where you just literally set out the steps, because a lot of times we miss things if we try to keep it all in our minds. I know I do. And if we put it all down and we do that for each one of our projects, we're just going to be so ready to have a maximum impact once we get going with Ash. And so, Andy, I hope that was a good start. And again, I want to offer I just want to offer out that if anybody wants me to create a little cheat sheet, a little quickie thing that you can adapt, let me know, because it does help to get it out of your brain and onto paper.
Absolutely. This boils down to my favorite phrase that I know Comfort knows very well. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. I won't add the other one in, but prevents poor performance. Exactly similar to what you have and what you've done. I have found that I've tried to simplify things a little bit from the point of view that, I can't remember what his name is. Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is one of these positive mental attitude gurus who suggests various different ways of time management and planning, etc. But one of the things he suggests is to write down all of your goals. Now, those goals are wealth, health, future, etc. So you have a clear plan as to what it is that you really want, what you want to do for humanity. In this particular instance, we all have goals that we want to achieve here. And writing these down and reading them over and over again on a daily basis to yourself. And I suppose I'm a little bit sad, really, because I stand in front of the mirror and do it with what I want. But I have a grin on my face, and I try and raise my happiness level when I talk about what I want. And over the years, this has worked to a certain extent, and for some things it hasn't worked. But the fact that I've written down and I have a clear picture of what it is that I want, how it comes is down to the universe. Yeah. So as long as we sit down and contemplate, get that feeling inside you of, I have it now. So one of my goals perhaps is a luxury car. And the feeling I have when I go to bed every night is I'm sitting in the car going, rather strange, but at the end of the day, I've got the colour picked out. I've got the leather interior picked out. I've got the headlamps. I've got the number plate that I want. I've got all of these things in my head, and I lie in bed at night and smile and think about what it smells like inside, what it looks like, how I would be driving behind the wheel, all of these things. Now you can relate that exactly as Jeanne has suggested, to do with business, to do with income, to do with how we move forward, whether and like many of you, I have various projects that I'm involved in or lucky enough to be involved in, but obviously ONPASSIVE is my main focus. It's a case of not if, but when. Get that? So my planning procedure is, what am I going to do when it comes? How am I going to take advantage of it? What steps do I need to take between now and then to be able to get to that point that I want? And everybody's steps are different. You know, we may have traffic or the availability of traffic. Now, personally, I've been saving money over the last few years to be able to purchase traffic when we go live. How do I get more customers, or how do I potentially get more customers? So I write down an idea, and every day I sit down and I go, okay, can I add to that? What else would I do to be able to obtain customers? And that list gets longer and longer every time you sit down and think about it. So using this time profitably, from the point of view that you use your mind to suggest things to you over time. So you write out and try and write out a new idea every day. I'm not asking you to become salesmen, because that's not what most people are. I'm asking you to consider or look at, and I'm going to give you a very good example. I know this isn't because of the closure of ONPASSIVE initially, but we had a social media platform, and Ivy Mix set up a Facebook page to say, I want, if you like this idea, come and join me on this site. We want a private group. And I believe, I can't remember the exact figure, but I believe she had 2,000 odd, simply by making suggestions to others, not trying to sell them anything or any of that. Now, if you think about that, if we'd have moved forward in that current position, she'd have had 2,000 customers to start with, like that. Now, that is a simple idea, but take this time to think of different ways, think of different opportunities, and write them down. This is key, because if you don't write them down, you will forget them. And I have I'm one for lists, as you guys well know. So I write lists of everything. I suppose that's the Capricorn in me, the planner. But bottom line is, if you have a clean sheet of paper and you go ideas to look for new customers, look for new people to come and see the opportunity that we have that presents itself. And every day you sit and think of something else. You could be doing gardening, for Christ's sake, and at the end of the day something will spring to mind and go, oh, that's a good idea. And you write it down. Now that list is ever growing. And these are different opportunities or different ways of being able to achieve a target that most people can only dream of. Now, let me clarify that, because I think this is important as well. I know, because I'm ex-financial advisor, that in the UK the average pension scheme pays out, on the average income for a pension is £800 a month. That's about $1,100 a month. I don't know about you guys, but my bar bill's higher than that. That's sad, isn't it? You can't eat out, you can't buy a new car, you can't go on holiday because you haven't got enough to cover your bills. Why? Whose fault is that? Well, proper prior planning prevents poor performance. So if you'd have started saving when you were 18, you'd have had a pot over $1 million, in which case you'd have had an income of 50,000 a year, no problem at all. But that doesn't happen in this day and age because we just simply don't have the spare cash to be able to do that. And I've come across, in 40 years of being in the industry, that number of people that were financially independent by the age of 40. And I have seen thousands, literally over 40 years. So now we need to take advantage of it. Now we need to use the time to the best of our ability and to make sure that we write down as many ideas as we can. Now, as I said, Ivy Mix's idea was simple, absolutely simple and straightforward, and yet 2,000 people joined the cause. 2,000 people looked at what she had and said, oh, that's interesting, a private group. I'm into that. So what can you do? What can you add to the table when we do go? And we will, by the way. This is all simple semantics at the moment. We know that Mr. Mufara wants to get to stage 10 before he tells us about stage 1. And there's a reason for that, because we all know that last time we did this, you say, oh, this is what's happening, and people misconstrue what's being said. Not doing that this time. So we're going to do it the right way. So in this time, we can take as a planning the system, planning what you're going to do. So, and again, I'm a great believer in this because it's helped me over the years so many times. Baby steps. Just take one small step every single day, and you cannot fail but reach the goal that you set yourself. Now, I do have a nice car, by the way, but I want another one. So baby steps. Every single day, write something down towards the goal that you set yourself, but clearly identify everything that you want and desire. Every goal, as if it's absolutely easy to be able to achieve. Absolutely easy. Everything you want financially, everything you want in health, everything or where you want to live, what house you'd like, all of these creature comforts, what you'd like to do for humanity, how you intend to do those things, and what benefit it will have for others, as Jeanne has said. Jeanne, I'm sure you'd like to add to what I've said.
Well, what I loved was when you said that you write out that list of goals, and in those categories, wealth, health, relationships. What are the other ones? I don't know. It's like 5 or 7 different areas of life. And
that's the mistake I've made. I haven't written down the relationship one.
Yeah. Yes. So that's a really excellent trigger. Like we might talk about the same projects over and over again, but have we sat down with that list of things that affect all aspects of life and lead to a balanced life, right?
Yeah.
If you've got relationships down pat and wealth down pat, but your health is a mess, you're not going to have a good life. So I'll have to find that list. I know it's out there. And you sit down and say, okay, what kind of goal could I have in health? What kind of goal could I have in trying to think of some of the other categories, and it will spark more ideas. And as Andy said, writing an idea a day, just having like a little pad of paper or something where you can write down these things, because I promise you, as someone who has written songs, ideas will come at the craziest time. Have a notepad in your car, have one in your bag, have one on the whatever, because especially when you're in an inspired atmosphere like we're in every day around people who are empowering and encouraging and inspiring, this is the soup from which all these great ideas are going to come. So we want to capture them on paper and then keep them all in a spot. And if an idea doesn't come to you that day, maybe you can go through your binder of projects and fill out a couple categories, write down a contact, or write some more detail on what you really want it to be like, or write a mission statement, or do something, anything that, as Andy said, you want to solidify without putting too many parameters on. As you said, some things you want to leave up to the universe, because that might be a better plan than our puny minds might come up with. We'll leave it to the higher power. And we can flesh it out, live in the feeling of it having been already done, as Andy said. And the more we do this, like Andy says, he goes to bed with a smile on his face. That is one of the most powerful things. You go to bed with a smile on your face, and you wake and put a smile on your face. Those things will set you on the right track for a positive day and a positive life. So, it's just start with those baby steps. Just write a few ideas down, and I guarantee they're going to spark some more and more and more. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's right. I always wanted to do X, Y, Z. I totally forgot about that. Now I'm going to be able to do it. So let me write down my notes while it's fresh in my mind. And then the next one, and the next one. And it's just time well spent, and it is fun. It feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, you're not doing it right. You know what I mean? Like if it doesn't feel good, then maybe those aren't really your goals and dreams. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about. It has
to feel good.
If you're planning a project because you think you should, or you think someone else is expecting it of you, or you think, someone else is saying you should do this because that's a humanitarian thing, or no. We have the numbers. We can have people that are doing this, and then people who are drilling wells, and people that are setting up this, and people that are painting, and people that are making music, and people that are writing books, and people that are helping the elderly, and help people that are just living their best life. All of it. You should be doing what brings you joy. So don't do, when you're setting up these projects, please don't make it be something that you think sounds good, because we don't need that. Somebody else wants to do that same project, and it's the joy of their life. Let them do it. And you sit down and find the ones that bring you joy, and that you can go to bed smiling and wake up smiling and be excited that it's going to happen. And what a great chat, Andy. This gets me fired up when you're talking about the envisioning and feeling your goals. And I'm just like, that's the part that people forget, is the feeling state. You don't say, I wish I had. It's thank you for this. Thank you for this thing that's in my life, now. It's like a prayer of thanksgiving before you get it. It's just Absolutely. A beautiful, energetic state to stay in.
I want to give you a very good example. This is really down to earth. So my mother every year grows vegetables. We love cucumbers. We love cucumbers and tomatoes in particular. So this year we did a little bit of planning. And my sister lives very close to us. She wanted to grow cucumbers, or she's grown cucumbers and tomatoes as well. And I did a little bit of research. And one of the things was suggested was organising a copper aerial. So a bit of wire wrapped around a stick and put into the ground. So I did this on all of the patches where my mother has got tomatoes and cucumbers that we laid out. And we have already had 3 foot-long cucumbers with several a little bit shorter, but they are coming on leaps and bounds. And our cherry tomatoes are more like, well, they're not cherry, let's put it there, so they're a little bit bigger than that. But the key here is that my sister has done the same thing without the copper aerial. And hers, the largest one she's had so far, and she's had one, has been about 4 inches. That makes a hell of a difference. Now, all that little bit of research to make a suggestion was an idea that I wanted to consider. So, Collins, we've been talking about proper prior planning and visions of the future, etc. And I was just explaining about a little plan the family put together about growing cucumbers and tomatoes. And as I said, just simply by doing a little bit of research and putting a copper aerial in, these things are huge, and they are delicious, by the way. They're absolutely delicious. But the point we were getting at is it's all about proper prior planning. It's about writing down the things that you want to achieve, writing down your financial goals, I'll get this one this time, relationship goals, your health goals. That's the one I've forgotten, Collins, because that's why I'm still single. So relationship goals and where you want to be in the future, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, your aspirations, shall we say. So we've been discussing this, Jeanne and I, and Jeanne was explaining about projects and about project planning. Now, you're an expert in this field because you do this specifically with software. So I'm going to let you do your bit, but we were aiming this obviously towards ONPASSIVE and what we need to do while the clock is ticking, what steps we need to take. And I suggested, writing down a new idea to get potential new customers in when we do go live. Like Ivy Mix did with her, I think it was a knitting club.
I can't remember. Don't remember.
But anyway, Collins, over to you. I'm sure you can add a few.
No, thank you, Andy. I was just rushing just to catch up. The time sometimes doesn't favor us, but it's really great to be here. And just thank you for the head up. Thank you, Jeanne, for always coming here to support us. So it is really great, to be here. And the topic is really nice because you talk about prepare. And, yesterday I was just sitting, listening to Mr. Ashmore again. Sometimes when I have time, I will go back just to listen again, over and over. Mm-hmm. And one of the things Ash, talked was about prepare. He says something, the last outing, he said, no matter how much you prepare, you don't know until you go live. That's this for most of the IT company. I said, wow, Ash, you've just said something. And today, what I was doing at work was about prepared. What if this software is launched? What happened? We had like a lot of different versions, and the last version we had has already gone live. But because we moved to the next version, we need to make sure, because they always call it in IT continuous delivery. Though you have built Andy and you want to add Jeanne and Alleva, you must make sure Andy still works, because it's just like you adding more functionalities, more features onto what you already have. We always talk about iPhone. iPhone, when they deliver it wasn't in the iPhone, it was iPhone 14. But some of the features and iPhone, the normal iPhone, then they go to they start to give all those numbers 1, 2, 3 until we are now in 16, right? But if you look at the first iPhone, those features that are in the first iPhone, they are still in this latest version. It's just that they have more functionality added onto that particular build that they already have from the beginning. And when Ash always make this statement, he said, they will overwhelm us with a lot of features. It will be futuristic. It means they will continue to deliver, adding more things to keep their customers, to keep the customers that are coming, because customers want new things. But, the technicality is, how do you keep on with this when it comes to the back end of continuous delivery? We're talking about continuous delivery and continuous integration. Some companies do continuous integration, but to deliver is hard. Because in the back end, in-house, they are delivering. Yes, we are seeing it. Their engineers, they are seeing it. But how do you present it to the customers? That's the most difficult part. So you deliver to the customer, but you integrate behind the scene and then deliver to the customer. So we were talking about preparedness, and I was like, in this, when my manager came and said, Collins, you need to take this older version, integrate it with this new version, test it and see if there is any error or not. Then we can say, yes, everything is correct. There's a lot of moving parts. It took me the whole day to do that, from 9 o'clock till the time I close. And I've not even finished. Then think about what Ash is doing. So sometimes I put myself into these people, what they are doing. Because what if there is an error? Because you cannot force it. But Ash said, you are never, no matter how much you prepare, you don't know until you go live. Because there are a lot of variables. When Ash talk about this, there are a lot of variables. What if there is an environmental issue? Not even something with the software. You move it from one environment to the next environment. Say, you're moving from this place, it's hot. You put me here, it's cold. I cannot withstand this temperature. You don't even know. You don't know some of these. You don't even know compliance issue. When you're moving it, what if this government said, I don't want that software? And they shut you down at the point of entry. They said, all our people here, go to the internet space, let's block it so nobody will ever have access to this. We don't want it in our country. These are the challenges. A lot of things moving part. When I know I listen to that bit, because sometimes when you are on that panel, Ash is speaking, you don't get everything until when you go back, start to listen again. Then you pick the bit that really fits you, because no matter what Ash will say a lot, it doesn't matter. Those who are engineers understand the engineering part. Those who are this will understand that. But Jeanne and Alleva will understand what I said in a different plain language, because it will personally affect you, and you will say, my God, what Ash is saying, I've been in this environment and this is what happened. There's a lot, but you never ever know. You can prepare all the magic, but you always put your hand on and say, God, I've done my part. There are times that even when we want to release software to the customer environment, you have to kneel down and pray. You kneel down and pray, because we are talking about hundreds of millions. It's not something you tell, it's a couple of dollars or this. The customers have paid hundreds of millions. You go in the night, you put your knee down and say, God, please, because the moment there is an error, you will be the first person to be fired. The company at that time can face legality, all those type of things, legal battle, give my money back. And some of this money, they have paid the engineer to deliver that software. So I'm just bringing that challenges. We are building, this company is building, but Ash is not stopping, because he needs to pay those engineers. You don't pay them, they'll tell you, you know what, forget it, how can I feed my family? They're not doing it for free. They are doing it. So whatever happens, that the negative side, who bear the cost is Mr. Ash Mufara, because this engineer, they don't care if they bear the cost. Not like they don't care. They have had, but they have delivered up to their possible best. You still need to keep them going. So we made this mistake. Can you correct it? But you have to still pay them month in, month out. They need to receive salary so they can continue to deliver. So these are the challenges behind the scene. You spend that 8 hours. That 8 hours, they count that 8 hours, because they are paying you to put in that 8 hours. And you really need to put it. You come back, and these people are human beings. They need to sleep, relax. But the end goal of any solution is the customer. The test of time is when you put it to the customer. He said, please look at it. Do you really like it? And when they go, wow, then you come in, you celebrate. Like when they launch spaceship, Jeanne, I know you are used to spaceship. When they launch, what happened? When there's successful launch, everybody clap. Wow, see the rocket is going, until the rocket will go to the space, bring the astronaut back. That is big celebration. It's the same when they launch a software. The whole team sit back and celebrate. There is news flying across the company. Wow, we've done it. The customers are happy. And this is exactly what Ms. Ashofra is doing. So when I look at all of this thing, what we're doing is about preparing, but though you don't know, you say that, oh, I've done my part, but I leave the unknowns to God, because we are just humans. Sometimes when I always look at the software, test the software, we always said you cannot test the software 100%. What if that 1% miss is something that can cost the whole company life? You can find a million defect, doesn't matter. What if the single defect you miss cause everything? Have you ever think about, Jeanne, yesterday I was talking to somebody. I said, this is how crazy this thing is. When you use plane, every day you fly, left, in and out. It is computer that is controlling the plane. It is not human being. The pilots sit there and the computer control when they take off, only from takeoff, you have the robotic part of it, controlling it, navigator. What if that software was not tested properly or there was a defect? They said 100 degree or 2 degrees, and the software said no. From the understanding of the code, it turns 90 degree and plunge into the sea, kill 4,000, or we talk about 400 and how many million people dead. It is software. This is what is happening. This is happening every day. We saw what happened with Indian Air from India to UK. They will look at the board now. One day they'll tell you it's software. What happened with the financial crisis? Banks shut down everything. People want to take their money. Software. But are we going to stop? No. This is where the world is going. You never know. The test of time is when you put it in front of the customer. Mr. Ashfara say it. Things will happen, but things will be clear, because the more you put things in and you do your own part, you leave the rest. You said, okay, now this is it. And when it comes out, everybody is happy, and you look at the show and say, wow, this is beautiful. People are celebrating, because at the end of the day, it will not be Mr. Ashfara only celebrating, but you want to see customer satisfaction. That is, he wants to give the biggest satisfaction to the customers, to the companies that will come and buy this software, like we're talking about medium, small size and large corporation. They want to do it. The moment you put it out and they go crazy, Mr. Ash will stand and say, I did it. And at that time, all of us, the founding member, will be celebrating for something that we didn't put effort, just to sit and then said, this is what they've done. But those engineers who are back behind Mr. Ashfara doing all this job, in the guidance of Mr. Ashfara, they are the one putting all their effort. We are just here just to say we want to celebrate in the success, because he said, just come with me, be loyal, and then see where this company will take us to. Because he believes in his own ability. He believes in his marketing skill and his IT skill, and he knows and trusts the people who are around him that they will deliver it. But we never know until it goes live. And that is why it takes a lot of effort and time and patience to make sure you get it right. So I will leave it there, Andy. Thank you.
Thanks, Collins. Collins has a great point, and relating it to what we've been discussing today is the flexibility side of things. So, this is important to be able to adapt. What's the phrase? You adapt, you overcome. It was something Clint Eastwood said in one of the films. I can't remember the full phrase. Anyway, the point being that every day you need to revisit the goals that you've written down. Okay? Every day you must read them. And this is why, as I said, and Jeanne has been saying, you can add to that list of ideas every single day simply by revisiting it. And Jeanne said, look, ideas come from some very strange places. I used to put a pad and paper by the side of my bed at night, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, scribble, and in the morning I could never read what I'd written, so it was a total waste of time. But the idea was there. The idea was there. So it's a case of looking and revisiting these lists every single day, because if you do that, you get the baby step that you need. You get to that next level if you keep on keeping on. Any final comments that you'd like to make, Jeanne?
Well, I just want to say, to properly plan and have a pen that works by the side of your bed, because I have woken up and done exactly what Andy said. You wake up, you jot, you write down whether it was a dream or an idea, whatever, and you wake up and you realize your pen had no ink in it, and it's just impressions on the blank paper. So either have a good pen or a pencil or a crayon or something. So that's part of your planning, is make sure you have writing implements that work to capture all your ideas. No, I wanted to thank Collins for joining us and for adding that in, where you plan it, do everything you can now to prepare, to learn, to get yourself ready, and then get flexible, because we don't know what the future is bringing. We need to be able to move and adapt as whatever's needed. But we will be so glad that we put the work in, even if it is just in your mind. But we suggest putting it down on paper, and then you'll have it there in black and white, and you can adapt and change and make notes and change things if things change. And I think it will be well worth it. So anyway, thank you so much, Andy and Collins. So I'm so glad you joined us. Yay.
Yeah. In at the last minute. Anything else you want to add, Collins, before we close?
Yes, Andy, it's just about patience. It's about, it's about being loyal. And we should remember that what Ms. Ashmofara and the team are doing is not only for us, it's for the 8.5 billion internet users global. There are people who will see this software, whatever Ms. Ashmofara will develop and release out there, celebrate without even know how it started, like the way we celebrate other products we are using every day. We don't know the pain that they went through. We don't know how many releases they produce and discard until they release the final version of what we are using today. We will be celebrating the success of those who went through the pain. So the truth is, if we don't celebrate as affiliates, as founders, remember and know very well that there are people who will celebrate for what they were not part of it and wish they were part of it. So, and it is coming, whether we like it or not. This is Mr. Ashmofara's dream. We are either in or out, but he will keep to his dream because it is his dream, and he will never let go of his dream. Like I can never let go of my own dream. Jeanne will never let go of her dream. Andy will not let go of his dream. When you dream something, you take action, it will happen. But dream without action means nothing. Mr. Ashmofara dream about this, and he's working towards that dream. And who will be the beneficiaries is the 8.5 billion internet users, including myself. So I'll leave it there. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks for joining us, Collins.
Thank you, Jeanne.
Thank you all for joining us today. Again, apologies, it's delayed, but we will get there eventually. So take care, enjoy, and come and join us again next week, be it Tuesday or Thursday at 7 or 8 or 2 or 3. But thank you ever so much. See you soon.